Honey, don't walk out, I'm too drunk to follow. You know you won't feel this way tomorrow. Well, I'm a little rough around the edges and inside a little hollow. And I'm faced with something sometimes that are so hard to swallow. Hey, but I was born a rebel down in Beauty on a Tuesday morning. Of 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot's on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. She picked me up in the morning and she paid on my ticket, said, screamed in the car and left me out in the thicket. Well, I never would have dreamed that her heart was so wicked. I keep coming back, 'cause it's so hard to kick it. Hey, 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 and I was born a rebel down in Dixie on a Sunday morning. Of 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot's on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. Even before my father's father, well, they called us all rebels. They burned out our crops and they leveled our town. Well, I still feel the eyes of those red-coated devils, and I'm walking around tonight through the concrete and metal. Hey, 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 'cause I was born a rebel up in Beauty on a Tuesday morning. I've 1 foot in the grave, I've 1 foot on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. Hey, 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 I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. Let the games begin, eh? If there be but 100 of us remain alive, never shall we under any circumstance be brought under anybody's idea of a new world order. It is, in truth, not for honor, nor for glory, nor for riches that we are fighting, but for freedom, for that one thing alone which no honest person would give up, save with life itself. Once we were warrior poets. God knows we've tried to stand for peace. There's a chill about Granny's shed tonight. It's not just because it's bare. Thanks, Stephen. And it's not just because we have this sudden cold snap that's moved in. It was snowing here today. No, I rather think it's the ice water which is running through my veins. Things are moving very fast, so The best that I can try and do for you tonight is give you an overview of where I think we are. Last week, as you know, I used the analogy of the 1915 World War One Gallipoli campaign, which was a disaster, where the British Navy attempted to blast its way through the Dardanelles, what we now call the Bosphorus Straits between Europe and Turkey, and land ground troops to take Constantinople, now called Istanbul. Not Istanbul. What am I talking about? Capital of Turkey. You know where I mean. It is Istanbul. Many people are now starting to talk about Vietnam. It's different. Vietnam at least had some sense of planning. Planning that quickly went wrong, but planning nonetheless. Now, I'm not one of those who thinks that Trump is playing some form of 10-dimensional chess. If he was game planning this, then they must have been doing it from his first day in office. No. What we have here is the mother of all clusterfucks. It's war being done on the fly, and it scares the fucking shit out of me. We are now into day, what is it, 25 or something of this war. We have the apparently delusional president of the United States claiming different things one minute to the next, from complete victory to the need for allies to open the Straits of Hormuz. You have a Secretary of Defense who calls himself Secretary of War without congressional approval, who speaks about negotiating with bombs, and who said out loud, America is a terrorist state. We bring terror. Well, when you consider that Israel and the United States have no problem torturing children, blowing up schools, blowing up hospitals, then yes, the biggest terrorist state on the motherfucking planet is the United States of America. No doubt about it. The Straits of Hormuz are not closed, but they're not open either. Iran has said that any friendly country can navigate through under IRGC escort as long as their cargo has been paid for in yuan, Chinese currency, and as long as they pay a toll of 2 million equivalent USD for every tanker that passes. Now, that in itself is more of a PR trick than anything else. The US, the UK, Japan's thinking about it. South Korea, South Korea is willing to pay. The Europeans are thinking about it, they're in negotiations, but that is still not enough. Now, Trump and the Trump crime syndicate have been playing a Ponzi scheme upon you. What I mean by that is Trump is looking at the markets. And so, when he announces escalation, it's on the Friday. It's when the markets close. When he perceives what's going to happen in the markets on the Monday morning, he will come out with some utter fucking nonsense like the war is almost over. And because unbelievably there are still fucking people on the planet who claim to have an IQ level higher than room temperature, the markets are responding to his utterances. So, at close of play on the Friday, when he says something bad's going to happen, like a 48-hour fucking red line until he starts bombing Iranian energy infrastructure, and then the markets panic. The price of oil shoots up. When on the Monday morning he says, we've been negotiating for the last 2 days and everything's looking wonderful, the markets calm down. Prices fall. That's not going to work very much longer, just to say. But in the meantime, if you know, in other words, if you're part of the Trump crime syndicate, if you know 15 or 20 minutes before Trump opens his big orange Oompa Loompa mouth to lie like fuck, what he's going to say and how that's going to affect the markets, then you can make a killing. And they have been. Almost $1 trillion fucking dollars worth of killing, shorting on the oil stocks, shorting on the gas stocks. You could be the most righteous fucking Trump supporter in the world, and you're still getting played like a fiddle for the fat, orange, fucking incontinent, pedophilic baboon. But it doesn't matter. It's not going to work very much longer. The truth is, as I was trying to explain to some folks today, we are already at shit creek without a paddle. The damage that has already been done to the Gulf infrastructure means that even if the Straits of Hormuz was fully opened up tomorrow morning, no toll, nothing, just go, just carry on regardless, things still would not be back to normal. Not in a week, not in a month, not in 3 months. It will now take years. One example would be the Qatari natural gas refinery that turns the natural gas into LNG. It took about 8 to 10 years to build at a cost of 27 billion USD. Iranian strikes on that facility Wow, Alex, wow, okay. Iranian strikes in that facility have already done 20 billion USD damage. It will literally take years for that one refinery to be back to producing the LNG that it was producing before this conflict started. And that's if nothing else happens. I keep saying this, if nothing else happens. We have little to no strategic oil reserves. We have little to no strategic gas reserves. You know, even Thatcher, evil fucking bitch that she was smart enough before picking a fight with the miners and causing the miners' strike, which broke the miners' unions. She was smart enough to stockpile fucking coal at the power stations to keep the lights on. Because she knew if the lights went off, then the public would turn against her. And America imports, just so you know, Americanos, just in case you don't, one, you import 80 to 100 million barrels of fucking oil a day. And to supplement what you're pumping. And you are not insulated from world oil markets. You may be short term insulated from what's about to happen in Europe, what's already happening in in Australasia and Asia. Let's take, well, I don't know, the Philippines. Philippines pretty low down the pecking order when it comes to supply. People are having to walk to work because they cannot get petrol or diesel for love nor money. Taiwan, you would think, was further up the pecking order, but they're not really. And Taiwan relies heavily on Qatari gas for its industry. And what industry, you ask me? Well, the industry of high end chips, the sort of microchips that they need for everything these days. Everything, including, I don't know, fighter jets, AI, computing power. Taiwan has an estimated 2 weeks worth of gas left to provide its energy. So they're starting to ration. Maloney, she's so worried. She's in Algeria today begging the president of Algeria to supply Italy with LNG. Unfortunately, France and the UK can't go there. The UK can't go fucking anywhere. Now, I told you last week a time was soon coming when you would be able to sit at a petrol forecourt and literally watch the prices go up. When we arrived back off holiday last week, I was paid £1 70 pennies per litre for diesel to fill up the Landy. Tonight, to top her up, I was paying £1 86 pennies. By Monday, I expect that to be well over £2 a litre. Now that's one thing because of the knock-on effects that's going to have on everything. Because everything needs transport, and transport runs on diesel. And if diesel is much more expensive, transport's much more expensive, and therefore the cost of transporting things is much more expensive. That's going to have a knock on everything. Capiche? Not that difficult to understand, really. That's bad enough. But because we have no strategic oil supply, and here in the UK, we're even fucking crazier nuts because we're an island surrounded by fucking oil and fucking gas and good quality oil and gas. It's called Brent crude for a reason. But in the midst of an energy crisis, we shut down our last remaining refinery. We refused to issue licenses to exploit our natural resources. Now, they can keep that game going maybe for another few weeks. Prices rising through the roof. Well, we can all tighten our belts until it fucking hurts. There you go. 191 a litre at Inchmichael services on the Dundee Road today. These are real prices. These are not made up. In a very few weeks, the CEO of Shell came out and said, Europe will experience an energy crisis in about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, if the CEO of Shell, who Rachel from accounts, Clear fucking Starmer, whoever, says, oh, they're profiteers, if they're telling you that they don't have the product to sell you much as they'd like to in 2 to 3 weeks, then we are so deep in the kimchi that almost doesn't matter. They will have to soon, I was going to say sooner or later, but it's not soon. They're going to have to start to ration fuel. They're going to have to prioritize freight. If those trucks aren't rolling up and down the road, you're not getting anything. You're not getting resupplied with food or anything. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. They have to prioritize public transport. Private transport, well, they can tell you, sorry, you can't take your fucking car on the road. Or if you do, you're rationed to a couple of gallons a week. So they have to prioritize public transport, not just buses, but also most of our rail still runs on diesel. And then farmers need tractors and they need diesel. So the crazies, the Epstein classers in the political ranks throughout the Western world have all gone absolutely batshit fucking nuts. And they're going to follow the giant Oompa Loompa into the biggest since the charge of the Light Brigade. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can show you a map. There we go. Look how technical I am. And this here are the Straits of Hormuz. Can you see it? You've got Iran here, Afghan and Pakistan there, both allies of Iran. You've got Iraq here, little Kuwait there, Saudi here, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Oman, and JetBlue. Pardon me. If we zoom in fact, let's just put in, instead of zooming, Karg Island. And there it is. Now, Karg Island, what you've got to know about Karg Island is it's small, it's flat, it has most of Iran's oil infrastructure. Well, what happens here is because of its extremely deep waters, it can load up to 10 super tankers at a time. Sorry, I'm wanting to zoom out. You can walk across Karg Island in, I don't know, 40 minutes, they say, if you're fit enough. Now look where it is. It's way up here. Here's the choke point on the Straits of Hormuz. Karg is way up there, just so you know. Kuwait is unstable. I'll tell you why shortly. Here in Saudi is where I expect the US to try and build up military forces. Indeed, they already are. If I move them up, here, right across the water from Dubai, this area, these islands, and the horseshoe here, This is where Iran's coastline is rocky and peppered with bunkers armed to the teeth. Now, let's get back to the delusion of Trump. Let me take that away. I might come back to it. Now, Trump says that he's in high level negotiations with the Iranians. The Iranians say no, he's not. Trump says that Iran sent him a present and it was worth a lot of money. Iran immediately posted some in writing on the tip of one of their ballistic missiles. Here's the present that Mr. Trump's talking about. Receive it with open arms. I've long tried to tell you, to teach you, that amateurs talk tactics, professionals talk logistics. Imagine everything that you're hearing at the moment is brown noise. Forget the utterances of the Oompa Loompa. Forget what the blessed BBC is saying. Forget what Hegseth is saying. Just forget it all. Forget what the Iranians are saying. Just forget all of that and look at what's happening. Israel and America say they have launched tens of thousands of bombs onto Iran, and they have. But they've been hitting decoys. They've been hitting schools, hospitals, facilities that have been emptied. Everything of any value is underground and it's ready to go. Now, America claims it can fly at will across Iranian airspace. Not true. Iran is starting to take a heavy toll on the US and Israeli planes that are entering its airspace. And that's before the talk of Russia sending more S 400s to beef up, and China sending air defense to beef up Iranian air defense. I'll make it real easy. Israel and America are blowing up fucking rubber inflatable tanks. That's why they're talking about starting to hit energy infrastructure in Iran. The decapitation didn't work. The Iranian government is not going to collapse. The Iranian people are resolved to see this thing through to the end. They know this is an existential threat. So they have prepared and they've prepared well. And they showed us all these charts. Oh, look, the Iranians are running out of missiles, they're running out of drones because every day they're firing less and less and less. Motherfucker, go take a look at the last 48 hours. Iran is now launching missile attacks twice an hour, 24 hours a day. Israel is being pummeled into fucking dust. Iran just took out, and we should all applaud this. Iran just took out near Dimona the only factory in the world on the planet which still produces universally banned white phosphorus that Israel has been raining down on tents in Gaza and Lebanon. And the US likes to use. The point is, they are creeping ever closer to an outright strike on the Dimona reactor. They have said it's tit for tat. You target us, we're going to target you. And desalination plants, well, they're very much on the agenda. Now, one of the best memes, apart from the one that we use for the show, one of the best memes I've seen so far is the Oompa Loompa on a psychiatrist's couch with the psychiatrist saying to him, "These Iranians that you've been negotiating with, are they with us in the room now?" I'm told that Trump's morning briefing on the war consists of 2 minutes of clips of American bombs blowing shit up in Iran. Problem is, as long as that Strait of Hormuz remains closed, the world's fucked. You know, and if you're European at all, you might say to yourself, maybe it wasn't such a fucking great idea to blow up Nord Stream. Maybe it wasn't such a great idea to say we cut ourselves off from Russian energy. Because Russia's already come out and said that they are receiving so many requests for energy that they're soon going to get to the point where they're going to say, sorry, we've no more to give. But that's all right, because the bastion of European fucking values, the Nazi fucking insect coke king of Kiev, and his Nazi illegitimate regime with the help of the UK, always us, and US intelligence continue to strike at Russian oil and gas infrastructure. Two can play the game though. This very day, Viktor Orban turned off European gas going to Ukraine. They were already in an energy crisis. Hey, hmm, now you're in trouble. And Hungary may well attack Ukraine, or Ukraine may well attack Hungary before very long. Just saying. But it gets worse. Point being, in an energy crisis, the Nazis in Ukraine are attacking one of the last reliable energy sources on the planet. I'm sure you'll want to send Zelensky a fucking thank you card. Maybe run that Ukrainian flag up the flagpole one more time, eh? Get on your profile picture, moron. Right next to the Israeli flag. Israel, a country so moralistic, an IDF, the most moral army in the world, that just tortured a fucking 1-year-old in front of his father, burning the child with cigarettes and driving nails through his arms and legs until the father gave the information. It's all right, though. The baby's still alive. You know, if these things, if we were back in World War II, I try and imagine my grandparents. If we were back in World War II and we heard the Nazis were doing shit like that. But nah, we live in the age of fucking Epstein class. They eat babies for fuck's sake, so what does it matter? Torture them all you fucking like. Who cares, eh? Jesus. The generation in which we live. Now, now, because the whole world's in a panic, Trump's about to try and pull a market garden without the market. And maybe not so much of a garden as an allotment. If you don't know to what I'm referring. Field Marshal Montgomery, full of his own importance, came up with a plan to end the war much more quickly than it would have by doing a lightning raid in through Holland into Germany. It was called Operation Market Garden. Because it had two elements, you see, it had the market, it had the garden. The market was hundreds of thousands of airborne troops by glider and parachute landing deep into enemy territory and taking key positions, mostly bridges. The garden was a massive Allied troop column of tanks and armour which were going to push through to join up with the various landing zones. They came unstuck in a little Dutch town called Arnhem, where, because of bad intelligence and good German resistance, the airborne troops, tens of thousands of them, were annihilated. We talked about the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit that's been sent from Japan. That should be arriving in the Middle East Friday over the weekend, coincidentally. The 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit sailing from the US will arrive possibly a week later. In the meantime, the Rapid Response Brigade of the 82nd Airborne Division has been deployed to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. The 101st, the so-called Screaming Eagles, they are rapidly being maneuvered for redeployment to the Middle East. All that airborne power amounts to approximately maybe 10, 11,000 trigger pullers. The problem is that whilst airborne troops can move fast, they have to, by definition, also move light. They don't have tanks. They don't have any armor protection. They do have, because it's been put into the area, all the units that you need for an airborne assault. Tilt-winged Ospreys, A-10 Warthogs, Apaches, Chinooks, transport aircraft. Russian and Chinese intelligence have told Iran that they expect the US to attempt to take Karg Island. And in truth, they probably can do it. It's not a long flight from Saudi to Karg Island. It's up north, away from most of the Iranian anti-ship missiles. They could possibly ferry people across. What do you do once you're on Karg Island? Well, yeah, you stop Iran being able to export oil. Although they have other places they can load tankers, it's not the only one. Just the most convenient. That in itself does not open up the Straits of Hormuz. What it does is it traps thousands of Marines, of airborne troops, and there's talk of the fucking Rangers and SEAL teams, whoever else. Fuck off. What are you gonna do? You're really gonna try and take Fordo? Fuck me, you're dumber than fucking rocks. Even if that's where the uranium is, and it probably fucking ain't. Or they may be crazier. They might. Let's go back to the map for a minute, maybe. Yeah. Instead of, oh, no, it's gone. Sorry. Nah, never mind. You'll have to just imagine. No, can you all still see me? I got a strange fucking stupid message there. Yeah, so instead of taking Karg Island, which has no strategic value whatsoever in the slightest, they may attempt to take the coastline around the horseshoe of the Straits of Hormuz on the Iranian shore. The terrain there is horrible. The population is militant. The IRGC are hiding behind every fucking rock. And all of these bases, with the anti shipping, the speedboats, etc., are all deep underground. I've often stood at a castle, Dumbarton Castle, not far away from me, is a perfect one. If you've ever been to Dumbarton Castle, the only way to get to the top is up one very narrow set of stairs, rock faces to either side, and a portcullis gate to your front, designed so that any enemy attempting to storm the castle is going to have missiles raining down on them from three sides. It's even harder to attack underground because you can't use elevators. You're going to have to use the stairs, and every single stair, every single turn is an ambush point. So that's the market. Where's the garden? Because without reinforcement, without resupply, the troops, the airborns, can land, but they won't last long. They'll take horrendous casualties just landing. Well, the garden is being assembled as we speak. And the garden comes from a place of sheer and utter desperation, because none of this is planned. US allies have now said that they will commit naval forces to opening the Straits of Hormuz. That includes Indian warships. That includes, can you believe it, British warships. Some other European contingents. Doesn't matter. They're putting together a multinational flotilla which will attempt to force the Straits of Hormuz. And it will be timed for that airborne assault. Even if they get through, and that's by no means certain, they ain't coming back. If Russia and China think Iran is in real trouble, they're getting involved. Chinese warships aren't that far away. Pakistan has its own warships. And Pakistan and India don't get on. India just stabbed Iran in the back. Pakistan and Iran have a very, very good relationship. North Korea is itching to get into this fight. Thanks, Antonio. We're about to see the mother of all naval battles. Fuck me, they might block the Straits of Hormuz just by the wreckage on the seafloor. You can already see, however, how things are spiraling out of control into World War III. Gulf countries are choosing sides. Some, like Qatar, out of desperation, know now that they have to throw in with Iran, and I've said so open. Iraq is finally free of US and NATO forces after over 20 years. The US, in their usual way, begged the Iraqi government and militias for a ceasefire to allow them to evacuate the last of their mercenary groups. That was granted, only for the US immediately to come back and attempt to bomb the shite out of the Iraqi army that they trained for over 20 years. Iraq has declared war officially against Israel and the United States. Think about that map. Think about little Kuwait. The original Gulf War was because we told Saddam his reward for fighting Iran for 10 years from 1980 to 1989, 90, was he could take back the Iraqi province of Kuwait. Then we had all the nonsense involved in that. We know all about it. The problem is, not only are the Iraqi militia now openly hunting any US assets in Iraq, any Iraqi air defense is also shooting down anything in its airspace. And the Iraqi militia, the Iraqi army, may well annex Kuwait again. That takes out one of the players. Bahrain, that's done. Saudi Arabia sent in its entire police force, militarized police force. The Bahraini people, mostly Shiite, well, they're still fighting. With a little help, bye bye, Bahrain. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have declared war on Iran. Ta ta. If Saudi allows the United States to launch this land invasion, this airborne invasion from their territory, the oil that Saudi is being pumping across the peninsula to go out through the Suez and the Al Bob Mendad, but that's gone. Uh, Saudi infrastructure, it's gone. Riyadh, why idiots built a capital right in the middle of a desert, no one will ever know. But Riyadh is 100% reliant on desalinated water. If Iran takes out those desalination plants, the capital city of Saudi Arabia turns back to desert within weeks. The war continues to escalate. No wonder Israel is burning huge swathes of Argentina. Under the clause, it means that Israel can resettle it, mind you. And they're trying to buy fucking Greece. I like Greece. I like Greek islands. I like them being fucking Greek, not genocidal fucking Nazis. It is almost inconceivable, never say never, but it's almost inconceivable that, and the thing is, you can see the troop deployments. That's why I say professionals talk logistics. You can forget all the blather, look at what they're actually fucking doing. And they are preparing another two divisions of mechanized infantry to back up. That will take some time to get together. Of course, when this debacle happens, and when thousands, if not tens of thousands, of US troops, because the death count's already far bigger than they're letting you know. The IRG spokesman said today, we have destroyed, and so they have, all the US bases in the region. We know the US personnel left there have taken refuge in the surrounding areas, and we call on the populations of those areas to hunt them down and kill them. When tens of thousands of US troops start coming back in body bags, there will be no choice except to institute conscription. Now, here's where it gets funky. Lots of people online, lots of talking heads use my shit, give me no credit. But there is a Chinese guy, Professor Chang, I think he's called, who has been using gameplay to predict a lot of stuff and successfully predicted up to now what a lot of Trump's moves would be. He also agrees this is what's going to happen. And he says they'll bring in conscription. That will cause riots throughout the United States, but that's okay because Trump's already got in hand the fact that he wants National Guard in every town and city in the United States by April. That's true. He can call at that point a national emergency and martial law. And, oh, wait, do we have any examples where a president long past his term remains in office? Well, that's right. The insect, Belansky, in Ukraine. That's how Trump gets his third term, this Chinese professor saying. Hey ho. Sorry. I have a friend stuck in Dubai, and that was a message from them. Idiot went out because his company employed quite a lot of people there. The company itself is about to go bankrupt. He wanted to be on the ground to make sure his people were okay. Now we're desperately trying to find them a way home. There's no sugarcoating this, people. This is the shit show of all shit shows. This is what brings down not just the world economy, food globally, because the fertilizer's not being shipped. This is what allows them to bring in their great reset. We know that. I mean, who cares at this point? At this point, who cares? We are on the escalation escalator, and there is no fucking off ramp. Now, I said Ukraine has been targeting Russian energy. And it gets worse, people. I mean, why would you at this point? And why would the British government, why would MI fucking 5 think this was a good idea? Why would we be giving them the tech to do it? Why would we be giving them the money to do it? Oh, by the way, the luxury car manufacturer Bugatti, its number 3 showroom franchise in the world is Kiev. At the same time as they are now rounding up the blind and the fucking lame to throw them to the front line. Oh, Belensky's son will never be there, just like Baron will never be there. Well, that doesn't matter, so does it? So, the thing is, the latest attack on the Russian stations, refineries, near St. Petersburg, 1,000 miles away from Ukraine. Mhm. The way they evaded the Russian air defense was they were launched in Poland through flew through Polish, Lithuanian, Estonian, and what's the other fucking country that I always forget? Well, village masquerading as country, Lithuania. before entering Russian airspace and striking at those oil infrastructure terminals. And we know it because a number of the drones didn't make it. A number of the drones fell in places like Slovenia, Lithuania, and Estonia. They hit energy fucking cooling towers. They hit residential areas. And they thought about trying to blame it on Russia, but thought, well, maybe that's a step too fucking far. Russia's getting, you know, there is criticism of Putin that he's played too soft a hand, but they're pushing Russia into a corner where it's going to have to strike. The Baltic states, how could you be so fucking stupid? I know you somehow let Kaja Kallas rise to the top, but how could you be so fucking stupid? Oh, Europe politically is falling apart. The was it Prime Minister of Austria had to resign. Historic fucking defeat. The French are voting right wing. Fuck what's here in the UK are going to vote Farage. Jesus Christ. Hey ho. Fuck it. If voting at this point means nothing, fuck all. Um, and Russia is readying its major spring summer offensive. The early spring has dried the ground in northern Ukraine fairly rapidly. Russia, just like Iran, is raining missiles down at will. Our air defences are null and void. What little we have, and it's too late to ratchet up production. The US, the entire Middle East, Russia, China, India, Pakistan. Tell me that's not World War III. And tell me, how long before one of these people, and I know who my money's on, is crazy enough to think a nuclear weapon will change the odds. Let me have a quick flick through some of the things I bookmark on X just in case I've missed anything important. Oh, yeah, that's right. If America attempts to invade Iran, Iran says it's going to invade the United Arab Emirates, that's Dubai, and Bahrain. Uh, do, 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 do. Yeah, covered that, covered that, covered that, covered that, covered that. Yeah, the Iraqi resistance from the march. Oh, yes. Here's how fucking stupid Britain is. It's allowing B-52 Stratofortresses to take off from RAF Fairford to bomb Iran. But we're not involved. It's all right, we're not involved. Leading report says 30 plus NATO allies are now moving to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Take that with a pinch of salt. Well, remember that the Iranian spies that were arrested, captured at Faslane, they've been let go because they were fucking tourists. Yeah, the government of Bahrain is saying charge your phone and fill your tanks. Mossad headquarters on fire. Netanyahu is ordering the IDF to strike as many important targets in Iran over the next 48 hours as it can. There we go then. That's the briefing for this evening. On, our move is coming up rapidly, and so I've still got a lot to do. I've still got a lot to do tonight, God help me. But I'll get it done. Try to be prepared and not scared. If you know what's coming, at least you've half a chance. It's what it is, people. Don't believe any nonsense about peace talks. There are none. Trump is trying to buy time to get boots on the ground. And then we enter a whole new phase of the shit show. Hey, it is what it is. Stick around for the outro and try and be inspired, as I will be. For now, stand at ease. Fuck it off.
We are the last Jacobites, proud and free, will not be bought nor bend the knee. Like our brothers cry and freedom's flame, we rise as one and stake our claim. Oh, side by side, through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. From every shore we answer the call, Clan Jacobite, we rise or fall. It matters not our skin or land, but hearts as one and hand in hand. The blood we share is brave and bold, in woven dreams and legends old. Oh, side by side, through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. From every shore we answer the call, Clan Jacobite, we rise or fall. I am you, and you are me, a thread within this tapestry. For hopes of all, for every name, we light the fire, we keep the flame. No sea can part us, nor the land. Together strong, we proudly stand. With courage, truth, and spirits high, we pledge our oath beneath the sky. Oh, side by side, through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. Raise the banner.